All right, folks, welcome back here for another great top tier racing Gen 4 event that we are going to have tonight. And we are bringing you some action on WWT, that is Worldwide Technology Raceway. A lot different than what we seen last week. We saw these drivers tackle Eldora. Now we're going to see them go to what really kind of runs like time-wise a mile and a half, but kind of like a short track. And we'll get into that because this is a very, very unique track. It is not a paperclip. We have two very distinct turns, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Both sides of the track are really different, and we'll get into that as we go along throughout the night, and we will talk about that. But a little bit of housekeeping that we have. Let's see if we can pull up the big shakeup that we're going to have in points here tonight. And right now, it looks like Christian Proctor is going to take over that lead. So we have done a lot of points lead changing throughout this season. And Christian Proctor, once again, taking that over. Jake is going to be right there in second. Raffini in third. Van Kirk is going to be in fourth. And you have Shively in fifth. Altman is going to be right there in sixth. Thorndike in seventh. Kuko is going to be in eighth. We did not see Kenny last week. I do believe he is out here on the track tonight, so hopefully we will see him turning some laps. And then we've got Ledesma, Gill, Baines, and Marty all above that cut line. But Zach White, Shane, and then your last week's winner there in Dylan, sitting right there in 15th. Right below him, Alex Anderson with several wins already on the season. He is back in action here tonight. So you're going to see that driver take the field as well. So lots of shakeups, a little bit of drama that we've got going on tonight. We'll see what Alex Anderson can do coming back off of that long layoff. What can Dylan do? And not only what can he do, what has he done so far tonight? And what I mean by that is, let's pop up these qualifying results. Let's see if we can show these to you. Dylan is going to be your pole sitter tonight at a 33.109. Just barely beating out Matt. Good to see Matt here with a great run in that 72, putting it on the outside pole. Raffini is going to be right there in third. Christian Proctor, your points leader, in fourth. Alex Anderson in fifth. Jake is going to be right there in sixth. Ledesma, Kenny, Nick, and then Van Kirk are going to round out your top 10. Rena already in chat saying, let's go, Jake. So, Rena, good to have you out there in chat. We've got Marty saying this is a really tough track, and it is a tough track. 11th is going to be Davis. We've got 12th is Jeremy. Altman is going to be right there in 13th. Drafty in 14th. Robert White in 15th. In that 69, Marty, good to see you out there in chat. And then Shane in 16th. Zach White is going to round out your field there in 17th position. So there you have your starting grid. But let's talk about WWT a little bit. I believe, what is it that they said in NASCAR? Is this the 4th season, maybe the 5th season that NASCAR has had this track? And it runs different on both ends. In 1 and 2, when you get in, you're going to see those drivers run about that midline. There's more banking in 1 and 2 than they have here in 3 and 4. 3 and 4, you're going to see these drivers a little bit shorter, a bit flatter, but they're going to be able to hang that curb, run that bottom line, and wrap these Gen 4 cars around that bottom of 3 and 4 and be able to get off of the turn. So, two completely different ways to run this track, and what it's going to afford you is some of these drivers that take care of tires are going to start to come back to the front tonight. A couple of those drivers, Raffini being one, Christian Proctor maybe another, some of those guys that really enjoy getting on the throttle early, being super aggressive on those tires, you might see them fade. But if we get some cautions, those drivers you're going to want to see up front battling there for the win early on. So we're going to have some storylines as we go through. We know Dylan, last year's champion, coming back, picking up a great win there at Eldora. is going to go for another win here as he's going to start stringing some things together to get himself there in that top 12 and move on to these championship rounds. He has plenty of time, only 15th in points, but he's got time here before we go to the championship. So let's go back and take a look at what we have on our schedule, because as you can see, out of tonight, counting tonight, we have 6 races before the championship. So we've got plenty of time for these drivers to make it into that top 12, and some of these drivers to start to put some distance between them and maybe some of those drivers from 12th on back so that they can make that chase. But we're going to go short track racing at Martinsville next week, and then on the 23rd we have a Chicago road course race. Then we're going Dover, Chicagoland, Darlington, and we are going to finish on 2 pretty tough tracks. Chicagoland, a very tight track. Darlington, one of those driver tracks. So we've got a lot of great racing here to come before we get into those championship rounds. And Rachel is already checking in saying, go JD. I did, Rachel, see that JD had that paint job, that paint scheme on from the previous rest of the season. So I definitely appreciate that. It's a great looking paint scheme, which that black was a great scheme as well. But come on, hard to beat that one. All right, so again, these drivers are now going to start lining this thing up. We've got 120 laps. Now, this can get spread out. The reason that I told you a bit earlier that this is going to run like a mile and a half is simply because you're going to pace around here at 30+ seconds. It's long straightaways. So it is going to be about tire saving, keeping that right rear and that right front on that car. However, you are going to see some draft come into play at this track, especially if these two drivers are really close on speed. You are definitely going to see that come into play. But nevertheless, we are going to find out, because we can talk about it all we want to, but it is going to wind up being all about what these racers are going to be able to do. So here you go. You've got Dylan there is going to be your pole sitter. Matt is going to be on the outside. Raffini, one of those drivers we talked about a little bit earlier, along with Christian Proctor, they're going to be ultra aggressive early on. So look for those drivers early on in this race to really try to force their way up front. And then once you get up there, can you defend him? And I got to tell you, there are some really good lines here, but it is predominantly a single line. So if you get in front of another driver, it is going to be hard for them to get by you unless you have just worn those tires out. All right, so here we go, folks. No more talking. That pace car has those lights off. We are going to do this thing here on Tuesday night. Top Tier Racing, Week 10 here at WWT. Dylan is going to bring them down in that 70 machine. And there you go. Green flag is out and in the air. And you can see already Matt getting loose, trying to get the power down on that car. He's not able to do that. That is going to open the door for Raffini and for Alex Anderson. Christian Proctor now diving down to the bottom. He's going to have to fall right in line. Man, Kenny is on the march up to that 71 machine, already looking underneath the Ledesma. He's going to get that passed on. So Kenny's going to be up to 6th here. Jake right behind Ledesma. And man, we have just got fights all over the track already. Raffini getting loose. You can see that car just kind of getting yawed out. Alex Anderson now going to be all over the back end of that car. As these drivers are going to start arm wrestling over these positions. Already a second lead out to your leader. 3 laps in. Well, coming to 3 laps now. Dylan out to almost 1.2 as now Jeremy Gill showing crash, and that caution is going to come out, folks. All right, let's go back and see what happened to Jeremy in that 4 car. There you have him. Looks like he's up a little high. He's going to try to force that car to come down. And it looks like he's going to touch that curb, overcorrect, and around we go. Does he collect the 94? He is going to barely miss the 94. Everybody else is going to miss him, and just a small touch to that left front. Maybe some tires on that Ford machine, but outside of that, I believe he is going to be all right. So we're going to go back up here. Up front, Dylan is still going to be your leader. Raffini now in second. He was starting to get some pressure on Anderson, as all of these drivers are going to have to hang on here for that pace car. Pace car now catching up to the field, so we're going to see who is going to come down pit road. And take a bit of fuel. We had a lot of cautions last week there at Eldora. That is to be expected. And I would expect probably the opposite tonight. I'm going to assume that we're going to have some long green flag runs. All right, so we know we've got Rena. We know we've got Rachel. Every week, Rena is going to root on Jake. We know Rachel's going for JD. Let's see if we can go back. Who else out there in chat? I know Marty is probably just voting for himself, but who do you have out there in chat? Let us know. Who is your favorite driver? Man, it's good to see that 22 back with that paint scheme. Looking very nice out here. Drafty has moved up quite a bit. You're one of your bigger movers there is Drafty. Shane has moved up, so has Zach. All right, we have a 72 fan. Lars out there in chat saying, go Matt. Matt had a great qualifying, Lars. He qualified outside pole. Spun the tires a bit, and I think that cost him a few positions there on that start, but he settled in nicely to 4th position, right in front of Christian Proctor. So we'll see how he goes here for the rest of this race. All right, so your lights are now going to be out on that pace car once again. We're going to take these drivers back green. And we're going to get there about 7 laps in here to this 120 lap race. And man, this track is just, it's just so different than what they normally run. You can just see the length of the straightaways here and what they're going to have to do. Because, again, that is that really long 1.5 mile field where you've got those long straightaways. You can really air these cars out. We'll hop on board with some of these drivers as we get ourselves settled in here, and we'll just show you the length of these straightaways. And then it's under heavy braking to get these things slowed back down, rotated through these flatter turns. Not a lot of banking here. All right, so here you go, Dylan in that 70. He is going to bring them down once again. He is looking to go back-to-back here tonight. Man, great jump by the 70. Raffini with a really nice jump as well. I believe he is going to be able to hang on to second. Alex is going to pressure him. He's going to get underneath here. I do believe the 04 is going to have a great run. He is going to have some draft there by the 70, but the 67 pushing hard. A late break by the 67. He's going to get that pass done, so he is up now to second. Kenny is starting to work on Matt, not only getting by him, but he might be looking under Nick as well. Oh, big wreck there by the 85. You can see that front end go off. I don't think that is going to create a caution here on the track. It does not. So unfortunately, that 85 is going to have to come down pit road and get those repairs done. Let's see if we can find out. There he is. You can see that front end just flapping on that car. He's going to keep it under power. Man, some pretty heavy left front damage. You can see that wheel bouncing around there in that wheelhouse. Not sure if that is going to end his night or not. We'll have to keep an eye on him. Oh, Kenny is going to get the wall there in the 71, just pushing, getting tight on exit. Now your several race winner in that 67 now is in second position. Alex Anderson back on track tonight. We'll see if he can track down Dylan and try to fight here for this lead position 10 laps in. All right, and as we go through the field, it does look like that 72 of Matt is now starting to get under fire with Proctor. Proctor getting ever so close to the back end. You can see Matt pushing really hard on exit, and normally, folks, when that happens, you just add a little bit of throttle there through the apex, a little bit more throttle, getting on it a little sooner than what you normally would want to, and that stops your rotation. On the exit of those turns, now it looks like Davis is going to stay out. He might have missed pit entry, so that might get even worse for him. I saw him go down pit road. All right, so again, that 70 machine, he is out front trying to pull away, not quite up as big as he was earlier on, but one of those things that we really like to do is just go on board with these drivers, take a lap around with them so that you can see what it is like to sit behind the wheel of one of these and what's it like to pace around this Gateway Raceway. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to go inside a few laps here with your leader of Dylan. All right, so there you go. Inside a few laps around Gateway, you can really hear these Gen 4 cars. You can hear how much throttle they are giving these cars, getting down those straightaways. The RPMs that they are turning is absolutely wicked, as now it looks like starting to extend that lead out over Alex Anderson, 1.67 seconds. Alex with a nice little lead on Raffini. And then you've got Kenny. We saw Kenny get into the wall a little bit earlier. Looks like he is still working on Raffini. and he is going to be underneath of him right here. So maybe those tires starting to pay dividends here for this revved up racing machine in that 71. He is going to take over that third spot. So now put Kenny up to third. He is up 5 positions over where he started. All right, let's go back here and take a look at this three-way battle. You got Ledesma here. You've got JD right there in the 22. You've got Drafty right behind. So this is 9th, 10th, and 11th. Drafty really working that bottom line. You can see the left front fender underneath of that 22. So that means he's getting that clean air. Max rotation on that car. JD starting to work on Ledesma. Here he comes down this long backstretch. He's going to get into 3. And normally this is the side. Now Drafty, again, is getting into 3 extremely well. Pinned right down there to the bottom. Oh, and JD is going to get in the wall trying to correct it. I don't see a lot of damage on the right side of that vehicle. No, it looks good to me. I don't even see a scuff mark, but that is going to turn that position over to Drafty. So now Drafty up to that 10th position. And as we do that, Proctor in that 13 under fire from Raven. Jake, one of those drivers that loves to take care of those tires. Doing that once again now, as you can see the sun starting to go down and hide 1 and 2. That's going to increase the grip for these cars. Davis said he barely hit the inside wall and the damage ended by night. Yeah, Davis, I saw that when you were going around. That left front tire bouncing around inside of that wheel well. The front end looked like it was falling off, and we saw Kenny really hit the outside wall. We just saw JD do that as well, and it looked like that was okay. Now Proctor is going to get it in the wall there with that right rear quarter panel. That's going to open the door for Jake. Man, Jake really working underneath the Christian. Christian does not want to give that spot up. Jake is going to have to get way off of the throttle on the exit of 4 and fall back in line. So Christian running a fantastic defensive line. Going to be able to stay in front of Jake. Little bit of space now, but Jake really doing well on the entry, using those brakes to his advantage. So right now, folks, as we stand, you've got about a 2.7 second gap between Dylan in first and Alex Anderson there in second. You've got Kenny in third. Raffini is in fourth. Matt is right there in fifth. And then you've got Proctor and Raven as we watch them here battling over sixth and seventh. Let's see if we can go on board here with Jake, see what he is looking at. Yeah, he's just really trying to use that draft to help him, but he is getting into those turns so well. You just watch that closing speed here. Again, there he goes, running that bottom line. Christian Proctor taking that more of a diamond shape. You can see him kind of roll in, push out through the center, and come back down. Really giving him a nice drive on the exit of these turns. There goes Jake again. Now he's starting to look underneath. What's more, and he is there, and now he's going to turn. Oh, he's going to get right at that quarter panel of Proctor. Man, that got tight on the exit of that turn. Jake backs off, allows Proctor to gather that car up. What a great save by him. Man, this battle is waging on, but right up front now, folks. Alex Anderson in that 67, starting to get run down by Kenny. Kenny, one of those drivers, loves to save tire. And here he is, just a few tenths off of the rear end of that 67. We'll keep an eye on Jake and Proctor. It looks like that's about half a second now. That 71 is all over the 67. Man, Raffini is going to be a problem tonight, right there in fourth. Still super quick. Had a great run last week. It just looks like right now Kenny's rotation through the center, having that speed on exit, is just a little bit better than the 67. 67 is going to push really wide here, give his partner, his teammate, all of the room in the world. As they do that, Dylan out there on cruise control, almost 4 seconds up here on the field. Here he goes again. Now Kenny looking underneath of Alex one more time. He is going to push up, run Alex high. Both of them trying to run that diamond. The 71 getting loose through the apex, trying to get back on the throttle. This is going to open the door for the 04 to join this battle here. So three-way battle for your second position. Raffini coming back to these drivers. Now the 71 with a great diamond. And he is going to fan out. Are we going to be three? No, it looks like the 67 going to slide up in front of the 04, but 71 was such a good run on the exit of that turn. Nothing Alex Anderson can do but watch him go by here. As Alex now is going to get way loose. Man, now Kenny getting into that turn extremely tight, way up to the wall. You know, these three drivers are fighting for everything they have. That's opened the door for the 04 to come in and start fighting. Oh, man, Anderson, big hit into that outside wall. I don't see any damage, but that is definitely going to allow that 04 to get up there, as that 67 getting extremely tight on the exit of that turn. And now as all of that has happened, this has opened the door to the 72 to start coming back in. He wants to start battling. He wants that fourth position back. Looks like Kenny now is starting to... Oh, and Alex might have blinked out. He has fallen way back. Not sure what happened to the 67. He just blinked out on us. Maybe a packet loss there for Alex. A pretty big turn of events here. Oh, and now it looks like the 71 of Kenny is in the wall heavy. My gosh, these drivers just fighting a tight condition on these cars. Now you can see Kenny is going all the way up to the wall and starting to work a line coming back down to the bottom. And it just feel like Nick might have the better car at this point. Let's go back and take a look. Is now Jake able to get a run underneath the Proctor, and he is going to get that passed on in short order. 35, now 36 laps in. And as he does that, Nick is going to start to join this party right behind Proctor. Anderson still not back on the track. So we might have lost him for the night. All right, so your 70 machine, he is out here on another island, 5.2, 5.3 seconds ahead of Kenny. Raffini not that far behind, about 0.3 is going to be from second and third. But Dylan taking that pole position, getting out here, putting some laps in here at this track, and it looks like he is going to set sail. And really what he needs to do now is just make sure that he hits these laps, hits the exact braking points that he wants to hit, stay off of that outside wall. We saw him a little bit earlier when we come back to him, touching that outside wall. He wants to make sure that he does not do that and get hung onto that wall, because these Gen 4s have a tendency just to get sucked right to it and really slow you down, cost you 5-6 tenths a lap. He does not want to do that, because right now, still the fastest car out there on the track. Now, it looks like we have another battle as Nick is all over Proctor. Proctor losing that spot to Raven just a few laps ago. Now, fighting to keep that 6th position away from Nick Baum. Yet not a whole lot of fight. It does look like Proctor is struggling with those tires as Nick is going to get, and you can just see that safer barrier come out a little bit further on the exit of those turns, especially on the exit of 4. And it looks like that's where a lot of the contact is coming from these Gen 4 cars. Nick getting that passed on. All right, so Nick Baum now taking over that 6th position. He's going to be in front of Proctor. Now, Proctor is coming down to pit. Let's see what happens here. Love to see if he's just coming in and swapping tires and fuel, or if he's just stopping in. So if that happens here at 40, so he is going to 2-stop. He wants to 40 and 80 and then get himself to the finish. So he is going to 2-stop this. JD is going to be on pit. Kenny is going to be in the pits as well. Here he comes down the pit road. So all of these drivers are going to try to 2-stop this. Now, Dylan staying out. Dylan with such a large lead, he can do this. He can run a few more laps and have those fresher tires, have a bit more fuel in that car, because he is not the one that is being, he is not the one that has to chase. All right, so Kenny is down. He is getting his service completed. All right, so it does look like he has come out. Dylan not coming down and getting those that pit done just yet. We're going to see how all of this is going to shake out. Raven is out now. Drafty is down. Shane down pit road. And you can see now that 77 has some pretty heavy right front damage. The tire sticking out on that car. Dylan continuing to stay out, running these laps again, folks. He is going to have fresh tires when he comes back off of pit road. Jeremy Gill now, he is coming out, getting his service completed. And there you go, the 70 now coming down pit road. 44 laps in, it'll be 45 when he crosses that start-finish line. So I believe once these pit stops, we are going to see where Kenny is going to come out in relation to Dylan. I heard a shift on this 71. There you go. So it looks like Kenny is using third gear in 1 and 2. Let's see what he does in 3 and 4. Kenny using that downshift. It's kind of a road racing technique. You downshift that car so that you can get some mid-turn rotation. And you can hear him do that as now he's deciding to run at that low line in 1 and 2. Yeah, still downshifting that car. You can hear it as it goes through these turns. So we're going to see what's going to happen. It does look like Dylan is out in front. So you can see Dylan. He is going to be in third right now. He is in the middle of 1 and 2. And then Kenny is going to be on the exit of 2. Now, it does look like your leader is going to be the 72 machine. He is going to bring that down for service. So that is going to leave this gentleman right here, Altman, in that 94. He is the only driver that has not come down pit road and gotten his service completed. Now, after all this shakes out, I believe you're going to see about a 4.5 second lead between Dylan and Kenny. This is going to be one of your bigger fights here. Is now Jake Raven, I believe once this shakes out, Raven is going to be up to about your 4th position. Actually, your 3rd position. And Raffini has a little bit fresher tire, so he's going to try to run him down. Yeah, that gap starting to get a bit bigger as it's about a 1.2 second, 1.3 second over Raffini. So not a huge battle, but what we do have one shaping up is now Nick right back over to that 13. Proctor taking a bit of an earlier pit stop. Now Nick Baum is going to start tracking him back down to try to get this 6th position away from Christian Proctor. All right, Nick doing a fantastic job. It's really good to see him put together a quality run. We saw him really strong earlier on in this season. Through the midway point, he started to have a few struggles, a couple of wrecks he got caught up in, but man, really good driver, stays nice and patient. Good to see him putting together another nice run here. Well inside that top 10. He is 7th now. let's see if we're going to go back up to your leader. And this is going to shake out to about a 5-second gap between him and Kenny. But now Dylan does have the fresher tires, so this is probably going to grow throughout this run as Dylan is going to continue to put it on these drivers. You've got Kenny right here in second. Now, we do have a battle as it looks like Rafinha has started to track down Jake. A bit of a slower pit stop for Rafinha as we put him back here battling for this third position. And there it goes. He's going to shoot down to the bottom here, getting into 3. Jake's going to have a nice high defensive position. He's going to be able to defend that line until we get over here into 1. But now that has allowed the 72. Oh, and we're going to get tight. And there goes Jake around. Is he going to save it? Yes, but that is going to create a caution. Man, it just looks like the 04 dove it right down into that turn to try to get underneath of Jake. Not enough room. And let's see if we can go back and take a look at that just one more time. And let's go on board. Yeah, maybe just a little bit of netcode here. Let's see if we can get this chopper view. Yeah. Yeah, it just looked like two drivers. Looked like the 04 trying to get underneath of the 37. Just not enough room right there. Gets into that quarter panel. Around goes Jake. Jake did a fantastic job saving that car. All right, so a lot of these drivers electing to stay out, not coming down pit road. Now, Christian Proctor is going to pit. JD is going to pit. The 94, Altman is in. He is going to pit. Jeremy Gillen, the 4 car, is going to pit. So we do have some takers here down pit road. And you can see all those drivers coming down, trying to get service. Let's see if this 13 car is going to take tires. JD is definitely taking tires. You can see the right sides are up here for Proctor. Altman looks like that is just fuel only. He's going to get back out on the track. But 4 tires for the 22, 4 tires for the 13, and the 4 as well. All right, so we're going to set this thing back up now. You've got Dylan dominating this race early on, not quite halfway through yet. Putting on a fantastic performance. All of these drivers are going to be in that window about 75 to 90 laps. They're going to be in that pit window as well to be able to make it the rest of the way. All right, so here we go. They are lighting back up. The lights are off on the pace car. One more time here to get these drivers to that start-finish line. Again, nice and calm night, which is a great break from that Eldora race that we had last week, where it was just an aggressive, a lot of cautions. I believe we had 13 or 14 cautions that night. Now, we're going to Martinsville next week, so you're going to see quite a few cautions at Martinsville, so we'll be right back to some short track racing and some beating and banging. But right now, we still have a lot of work to do, not quite halfway on this race. And there, that pace car is going to peel off. That is going to leave this to Dylan in that 70. He's going to get inside of this zone and be free to start whenever he wants. And there you go. He is going to fire off nice. So is Kenny. Raffini and the 72 are going to battle each other here. Right back there is that 37. You know he would love to see the back end of this 04. He's going to have to tuck back in line, though. Jake now right back to the bumper of the 04. Matt's going to get a little tight, have to overcorrect going down the straightaway. That's going to pull Raffini back in line. Back to his bumper. All right, they're starting to space out just a bit. Christian Proctor looking underneath the Drafty. Drafty now up to your 7th position. He is up 7 spots over where he started. So really good drive for Drafty coming back through this field. It does look like Jake is going to start falling off. But right now, back up front, Dylan with a 7/10 of a second. Oh, big hit into the wall by Matt in that 72. He had a good gap on Raffini. I know we have some 72 fans out there in chat. And I believe that's what Davis was saying a bit earlier. You know, he hits that inside retaining wall and it destroys the car, but I have seen a lot harder hits here on the exit of 4, getting into that that retainer, and it looks like no damage on the outside. As you can see, that 72, I mean, it still looks like the fenders are intact, and that was heavy, heavy impact. Way up the track for Matt. It's going to open the door for the 04. Not quite there yet, as a great run on the exit of that turn for the 72. Let's go back and take a look at Gil, as Gil is going to fight with JD for 9th and 10th position. Drafty right in front of them, sitting in 8th. You've got Ledesma behind Gil back there, and then you've got Altman behind Ledesma. So pretty tight racing back here for about 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. Oh, Gil again, he is extremely tight. And you just see those cars come off of these turns and have to get down the track, chase that car down the track because just of some overcorrection, a lot of wheel in it, getting off of these turns. All right, so here goes JD. He is after Drafty now. Wants to continue to move up from this top 10 position he has right now. Christian Proctor looks like he is underneath of Raven. He is going to get that pass done. Looks like Jake's going to just back off and let that happen. Man, Raffini is in the wall. But he is still working the back end of the 72. All right, folks, we've got 65 laps in the books. What we are going to do now is step away, throw a commercial up, and then we will be right back with you. We're going to keep some side-by-side racing going. All right, so there you have it. We are back in action with you as Rafini continuing to work on the back end of Matt here in the 72. Now underneath, they're going to go door to door in the apex of 3 and 4. So Rafini going to continue to try to get this done. Now Proctor come down and got some tires, and you can see the benefit of those as he is working to his benefit, and it does look like he is a quick car out here on this track right now, showing in that 5th position, but caught up to these two drivers as Rafini again going to shoot down to the bottom. And Matt just has a fantastic line through 3 and 4, able to hold him off once again. And that run down this straightaway is just killer to get those passes done. Rafini started to look high through 1 and 2. Nothing there. Had to fall back in line. Just so difficult to make these passes. Matt in that 72 has a fantastic line going. This is about a second and a half behind your second place driver there of Kenny, who is about a second and a half behind your leader of Dylan. There he goes again on the exit of 4. Again, not able to make that pass stick. Just not enough horsepower in that Gen 4. Now, again, working the outside here, getting extremely close. That is going to open the door to Proctor. Proctor might take a peek. All drivers falling back in line all the way down the straightaway. Now, once again, Rafini out. He's going to push up the track, trying to get a better run off of the exit. Man, Matt in that 72 just looks like he's got that defensive line down pat. And they are going to continue to struggle to get this done. Once again, remember, a couple laps in here, 75 to 85, and at least that window's going to be open for them And now Proctor's going to take a peek underneath the Raffini. Nick's going to be able to hold him off as Christian's going to take a softer entrance. This starting to cool a bit. Matt working that midline. And Proctor, it looks like those tires might be evening out. 1.83 seconds is going to be your gap from first to second. As this battle here by Nick and Matt is going to be your closest battle on the track. Again, this is going to be for third position. Nick has tried to make a few runs, and it does seem like that 04 is quicker at this moment, but it is one thing to be faster turning laps. It is another thing to get by these drivers, and the 72 just holding a great defensive line. Man, back to the bumper. And there is Proctor. He is in the wall on the exit of 4. Dylan, still your fastest driver on the track. Just to give you a sense of where he is at, almost a 34 flat that last lap to a 34.49 for your second place driver. So almost half a second between your first and second place drivers. That is going to be fairly similar this lap. Now, I will tell you, Matt is starting to put down some pretty quick lap times. In that 72, it looks like he was a bit quicker than your second place. Both of these drivers, Nick and Matt, faster than your second place driver, but there is a 1.7 gap to Kenny. They're in second, so they have a lot of work to do, but now 40 laps are going to remain in this race. Got a driver taking a pit road entry. That is going to be Kenny in second position. So Kenny coming down early again. That is that window. It's going to be about 39 laps to the finish. But again, I just feel like Dylan can kind of just coast and pick his time that he wants to come in. Does not need to be in a hurry. As these two, again, are just going at it. And if you are the 04, maybe you think about coming down a lap, maybe 2 laps earlier, and trying to jump the 72 so that you don't have to be in these battles and you can be in front of him, and maybe you're the one on the protective line. So we'll see what happens now. Jake is down pit road. Nick is down pit road. JD is down pit road. A whole slew of drivers. Jeremy Gill down pit road. So a lot of action here in the pits. Your leader is down pit road in Dylan. That's going to turn it over. Your leader is going to be that 72, and he is going to stay out. Another lap, at least one additional lap here. So the 72 is going to stick it out, stay on track, and he is going to be your leader right now. So the option for him is, do you want to continue to stay out? As you can see now, Dylan is going to come out right behind this driver. Or do you want to come in? If the longer you stay out, the more seconds you are going to continue to lose here. So you can see Dylan is going to unlap himself. Now, Drafty is still out. Ledesma still out. And Shane. All four of these drivers have decided to stick it out on track. Let's see if Matt comes down now. Man, you just want to see the 72 come down pit road, get those fresh tires, and don't lose this amount of lap time. You're going to be quicker on the end of these runs, but I don't know if that's what you want to do. You can see Kenny now is looking to unlap himself, as he is about a few seconds, about a second and a half behind the 72, and he's going to get this done really quickly. Another lap here as the 72 stays out. So does Drafty, Ledesma, and Shane. I don't see any of these four drivers coming down pit road yet. Now we're going to come back out because it looks like Jake was able to get ahead of Raffini on pit road. And we saw just a few short laps earlier a bit of a battle here between these two drivers. Ever so closer. Now, not only that, but Christian Proctor is in front of both of these. You've seen that 13 machine in front of these two drivers. So if Raffini's going to work his way back into a podium position, he's going to get around both Jake and Christian if he wants to get that done. Now, you do have Matt coming down pit road as well as Shane. So the 72 and the 5 down pit road. Drafty and Ledesma still staying out there. On those old tires and just hoping for a caution. You can hear more shifting. Let's see if we can go on board. More shifting from Raffini. Proctor taking that high line into one. Man, such tight, close racing. These drivers extremely consistent and level on their lap times. All right, it looks like Jake now is starting to run down Proctor. So as this race continues on, between the 04 and the 37, the 37 now starting to work on the back end of the 13. As you can see, Christian continuing to stay to that really high outside line. Now here we go, as it looks like Jake is really caught up to him. Might try to make a move. He's going to stick in the draft. And now he's going to shoot out at the end of the straightaway. Cannot roll the center well enough to get underneath, but he is going to get a nice run on the exit of 2. Man, so here we go, 37 underneath of the 13. The 04 right there trying to pick a line. And again, that 13 with a great defensive line. Dylan now takes over your lead, 93 laps in. He's got about a 4-second lead over your second place driver here of Kenny. The 04 choosing to work that outside to get around Jake. He's going to get that done. And now is he going to get that done? But that's going to open the door to Matt. Matt, we saw staying out. He does have fresher tires than all of these drivers. I thought he might be a little bit further back in the field, but he is not. He is right here with them. Oh, and heavy into the wall on the exit of 4. Still with enough speed to get this done. Oh, that is some pretty heavy damage. Now we see some right front damage for Matt. I do believe that is going to affect him, but right now we have a battle. Christian Proctor in 3rd. Nick trying to find a way around. Nice rotation on the entry by the 04. Christian still sticking that high line. Makes it so hard to pass. All of this happening right about 4 seconds behind your second place driver, who is in turn about 5 seconds behind your leader of Dylan. 25 now to go in this race. Christian defending very well. Looks like Raffini back off just a little bit to try to cool those tires down. Jake now starting to fall off of the back of this pack. Raffini now working a diamond. Matt starting to run these drivers down as well. Now, again, he does have the fresher tires, and you know the 04 is starting to feel that pressure. He's going to want to get around Proctor as soon as he can, because if he does not, this 72 is going to be around both of them in the blink of an eye here. All right, so here you go. The 72 has caught up. The 04 is going to try to shoot the bottom on Proctor. Is he going to wash up in front? He is. And try to block that run and take that high side away from Proctor. Proctor is going to try to cross him over. Man, Raffini extremely loose on the exit Where is Matt going to go? Who is he going to follow? Proctor now down below. Not able to get the run in the bottom to swing up in front of Raffini. So I believe that pass is going to be done, but that definitely opens the door for the 72. So Proctor might lose 2 positions here within the course of 1 lap. Oh, Raffini in the wall heavy. And it looks like Proctor's going to get this pass done. Raffini's going to push it in there. Stay on that outside quarter, but Proctor does have him cleared. So Proctor back into that 3rd position. Some hard racing here with about 21 laps to go in this race. Now 20 laps to go. Oh, and then we've got some contact. Now the 72 with all of that contact is snuck underneath of Raffini. He is now trying to get this pass done. He cannot. I just don't believe anyone has been able to get the drive off of 2 that they are needing to get these passes done. It's all been being able to sneak to the outside of these drivers in 4. Man, Raffini is pushing that car. 19 to go now. That 04 all kinds of loose on the exit of 4. Now Matt is going to get loose, trying to stay tight on that exit. Now the 37 of Raven is back into this picture. Looks like Christian got extremely loose on the entry of that turn, took a hard left-hander. They are now under the same umbrella. That is the 13, the 04 and the 72. 04 back down. We are going door to door here through 3 and 4, pushing up the track. Proctor does hold that outside line. He's going to get off the turn well, and that is going to put the 04 back behind him trying to get this pass done. Looked like the 04 was such a good middle of the turn. Now bumper to bumper, the 72 taking a peek underneath of the 04. 04 is going to have to defend the high side. That's going to stop his attack on, oh, and they're going to bump. That stops his attack on the 13. This is exactly what Proctor wants to see. These 2 drivers fighting each other. 72 choosing not to get drafted on the side. Now, he might be able to get this done. They're going to throw it in together. The 04 having to back out of it. That's going to pull the 37 back to the 04's bumper. But now Matt is going to get that position locked in. So the 04 not able to get around Proctor. Falling back to the 72 and getting past. Now Jake is back in the picture here. 15 laps to go. Matt looks like he has the fresher tires. Looks like he's got the quicker car. At this point, now it's going to be interesting to see if the 37, now that they are nose to tail, 37 really throwing it into 3, if he can hang on to the back end of this pack here, or if that was just because they were battling side by side. Matt again on his march forward. He is the faster car out of all of these cars. Again, Dylan out there, out front, about 6 seconds ahead, putting about 3/10 a lap on all of these drivers, including your second place of Kenny. But the battle here is for third, fourth, fifth, and now Matt is in the wall, and he's going to touch the 04 and get into heavy right front damage. And he is going to try to not spin out, and he is going to spin out. That is going to bring out a caution. 13 laps to go. And that is going to reset everything here. Dylan on cruise control. And they are going to have to come down pit road, get 4 fresh tires. And you just never know what is going to happen. Wow. Now they're all stacking up here, waiting on that pace car. You can see that pace car picking them up here. All right, so we're going to see what is going to happen. This is going to be your battle as all of these drivers are going to come down pit lane. And you can see Dylan bringing them down, all of those pit signs in the air, waiting on these drivers. Looks like we are going to have Kenny getting in the box a little bit early here. The 70, he has the preferred line on the exit. Matt, with that 72, is going to have some really heavy damage that he's going to have to try to get repaired. Such a good run by that driver. Potential podium finish by him. And, man, it is just going to be some damage control, I believe, for him at this point. Dylan is going to win your battle off of pit road. Kenny is going to be right there in second. Christian Proctor in third. Drafty, is going to come out in that fourth slot, but now he is going to be at least 2 laps down. So he'll have to go to the back. That's going to open fourth up for Jake. Nick is going to be right there in fifth. All right, so here you go. The lights are already out. This is going to be about a 9-lap shootout when we get ready to go back green. What a shakeup. Now, you are going to see some really hard racing, especially with these fresh tires. You know that 72 is going to want to charge back through this field. Somebody wants to challenge this 70. You know it's there. He is going to have the preferred starting position when he can go, and there he is. He is going to hit that gas pedal, get that done. Christian Proctor is going to wiggle a little bit, not really getting away. Is that 70? Now it looks like the 71 is going to take this higher line, maybe overdrive that entry, because that's going to allow Proctor to get to his bottom, and not happening. They are now going to fall back single file going down that backstretch. And again, it does look like Kenny is really putting some pressure on the 70 right now. He wants to do what he can while these tires are fresh. Oh, Ledesma, heavy contact into the wall. Just getting loose there on the exit of 4. Not creating a caution. It looks like he's going to keep rolling. That might have been Kenny's only chance in that 71. Now it looks like the 70 putting some fantastic lap times down. That gap starting to sneak back up now, 0.3 of a second. Kenny way loose. What is that going to do here for Proctor? Nope, Kenny's going to be able to stay in line, but now Jake all over Proctor. He is down low. He is digging for some additional positions. Down to the inside. He is going to have that run. Can he? Nope, he is not going to be able to throw it in there and slide up in front of Proctor. He might be able to get that pass done now. The 04 right behind Jake. So Christian under some heavy fire right now. The 04 might look 3. Settled back in line. 4/10 are going to separate your 2 drivers up front. Jake deciding to use a bit of an apron. Now getting that pass done. So now Jake going to be right there in 3rd position. That is going to open the door for the 04 to start battling with Proctor. JD now hopping in. Now hopping into this picture. Now it looks like Proctor is going to block the bottom line of the 04. And that made him slow up. And what that has done is put JD underneath of the 04. Now he is going to fall back in line going down the front stretch. Proctor's looks like he's got a little bit of right front damage. Nothing major on that car. Man, Jake with a great pass on Christian, but Christian is not done fighting for that position. Jake gets into 3 really well, but it slows him down through the apex and on the exit. And now Proctor's going to get loose. That's going to open the door for the 04. Here he comes, 04 down, 3 laps to go. Oh, he's going to lock the tires up and push both of them wide. JD's going to take advantage. It's allowing Jake in that 37 to start to walk away. JD now taking advantage of that, and that is going to put him there in 4th. I'm sorry, in 5th, but he is going to be right underneath of the 04. Trying to get 4th. He's going to get loose on the exit and lose 1 position and maybe another. Oh, and he is going to try to cut off Nick. Not enough room maybe for JD to come back up, and that is going to put the 22 into the wall and put us with a green-white checker finish here, folks. Some fireworks late. JD front end is knocked off of that car. Looks like both of those wheels are straight. Just did not look like there was going to be enough room for him to clear that one car. That one car saw the line, he saw the run, and he took it. Wow, what a crazy turn of events. You think that this is kind of just lulling you to sleep, and then all of a sudden, these drivers turn it on. Wow, and it looks like JD not going down pit road, so he's going to decide to stay out here. That's an interesting move by the 22. No front end, so maybe he is just going to try to run this thing out, taking that track position. All right, so we're going to reset this thing. The lights are still on, so we're going to go around one more time. Now, this is going to be a green-white checker. There goes another front end sliding through the infield. That might have been Ledesma's front end because he doesn't have one either. Rachel out there in chat saying, no, yeah, he had such a good run going too, Rachel. I just think he miscalculated maybe the amount of room that he had there to get up to that wall, not wanting to bleed off another position as he got loose on the exit of 4. Had a great opportunity here tonight. That happens. Those are the races that you sit back and you just think about later on, and you think, what could have been? What kind of finish could I have had? But, you know, he's still got some work to do here. Still in 7th position. Let's see what other fireworks we can create. Green, white, checker after so many long green flag laps. Pace car looks like he is going to start dipping off here very soon. That is going to turn this thing back over to Dylan. Dylan leading every single lap if it was not outside of a caution or a green flag pit stop change. You'll see those 2 white lines. That is going to be those zones. He is going to try to go, and there he goes. He is on the pedal. A little slip up by Kenny. That is going to allow, looks like the 37 to get down underneath of the 71. That's great use for the 70. Now Kenny's going to really throw it in there. So is a Christian. They are stacked up trying to get down this front or the stretch. Oh, and now Raffini is going to get into a Proctor. They're going to drag each other down to the infield. Oh, and now it looks like the 94 is in it. Another caution. Oh, and Drafty is going to get the front end knocked off. Let's see if we can go back. We're going to have to do this the hard way because it doesn't show that they wrecked. But there it is. It just looks like Christian come up with no room. And then right back there, Altman getting into it. Let's see if we can find out what happened to Altman. And you can see JD, he's got that pretty heavy damage. He's down there on the bottom. You saw everybody checking up. There's Proctor. The 4 is going to try to avoid him. Going to be able to do that. Oh, and the 94 just gets into the 72. Man, and we just go around and that has thrown some fireworks. Now it looks like Raffini with such a great run is going to have to come down. Proctor's going to stay out. We're going to try this green-white checker one more time. That is going to open the door up for Nick Baum. Has slid his way up here to 4th position. So you're going to have Dylan, Kenny, Jake, and Nick are going to round out your top 4. Shane has worked his way all the way up to 5th position in that 5 machine. Again, Proctor has a bouncing front end. I don't know how long that's going to stay together. Looks like it might have tried to reattach itself there to the right-hand side. Rachel saying, this is wild. It is Arena there saying, OMG, yeah, this is absolutely wild. This is kind of what you thought could happen is all of these drivers. Now what looked like it was attached is now just in several pieces of that front end there of Proctor's car. You can see it bouncing up and down. Oh, and there it goes. Underneath of the car, more debris out on the track. Now Proctor in that 13 does not have a front end. So if we took a view, there you go. The 22 does not have a front end. The 13 without a front end. Drafty now is just beat the front end. The 94 has the front end caved in. They have been through a battle, but we still have a bit of racing to do. Dylan is going to bring them down one more time to try to get this race done. All right, we're going to do this thing again. Let's see what happens. Everybody getting ready to go. Looks like Matt has taken that car to the hauler. And here we go, the 70, once again, bringing them down inside of this start zone. A much, much better start there by the 71. He is going to be really close to the outside of the 70. And here we go off of the turn. Everybody playing nice down the straightaway this time, but that 71, that 70, there might be a battle here for your lead. Kenny doing everything that he can do. Oh, and caution is out again. Caution is out again. I thought that Matt took that. He did. That might be Shane and Gil tied up. Let's see what happened here. I believe we've got that replay for you. We do not have that replay for you, folks. All right, let's see if we can get ourselves back to action here. Oh, and it does look like maybe we might have crashed. All right, just bear with me. We are going to try to get ourselves right back into this thing. We are trying to load in. Stay with me, folks. There was an update today, and it just completely blinked out on us. And it is not allowing us. I wonder if the entire session has shut down. We're going to try one more time. Hang on just a second. Just bear with us. As we're going to do that, let's see if we can get a commercial going for you. Okay, folks, I am back with you, but it looks like that session has absolutely cut off and might have dropped. We do have some people here that are in the interview booth, so we are going to interview them. Now you're going to see this black screen. I do apologize for that. We're going to see if we can give you maybe something to look at, as that session is now gone for us, so that might have timed out. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to do this for you. So that just gives you something to look at here while we try to get our interviews going. So let's see if we can bring Jake up to the booth. Jake, this is John in the booth. You got a copy?
Rise to the top. Oh, yeah.
Jake, you got a copy?
Got a copy.
All right. So I don't know, did that session shut out for you, or was that just me?
I mean, I closed out of it pretty quick, so I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. So it might have just been me. It just completely shut off. We did not see the end of that thing. We had the two green white checkers, and then all of a sudden it just looks like the session just blanked out. Could have been part of that update, but I'm assuming we come home in third. You had a great race going. It looked like maybe you getting tied up just a little bit there with the 04, about three-quarters of the way through that race, but really nice bounce back by you.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good race. It really was a race of attrition. Trying to get around 1 and 2 without burning up your front right was just discipline. If you drove it in way too hard, that tire was going to heat up, and you're just going to have a bad race the rest of the night. And yeah, Nick did get into the back of me. He apologized. He locked up his brakes coming into one, he said, and that's what caused him to bump me. But it caused very minor damage, so I wasn't too upset about it.
Yeah, and you had a great job being able to wheel that car and keep it off of any additional damage. So great job by you. And it looked like you had a very sporty Gen 4 machine on those restarts. It looked like you were working that bottom line with a lot of drivers, was really using that mid to high line. They had fantastic runs off of, especially off of turn 4, but it looked like you just had something working at the bottom. What do you think you needed to get yourself a few positions better?
Honestly, I think I just needed more time on the track because Kenny and Dylan, they are both amazing at what they do, and I think their skill level is just a little higher than mine. So I need to put in a little more effort to figure out the tracks, maybe to pick up where I'm leaving off, and they're still going.
Well, I will tell you, man, you put in one heck of a show tonight. Congratulations on a podium, a third place finish here. Lots of momentum going into Martinsville, which should be a fun little race all on its own. But Jake, fantastic job, man. We'll turn it over to you and let you give your shout outs.
Thanks. And with Martinsville, we ran it last season, and was it last season? It might have been season 2, and it was our highest caution per lap at that time, which was overtaken by the dirt track just the other day. But hopefully this season we won't repeat that because there is much more on the line. But yeah, I want to thank my girlfriend. She's always watching, always cheering me on. Trisha's Learning Center, because without the sponsors, broadcasting the series wouldn't be possible. You for putting on a great broadcast every week. And then everybody else, all the admins that show up and just keep going and bringing entertainment to everybody that's watching.
Well, I will tell you this, man. You've done a heck of a job. Congratulations. It's good to see you here in the podium. Look forward to talking to you next week, maybe even a few positions better.
That's the plan.
All right. Thanks, Jake.
Have a good one.
All right, so there's your 37 machine. Nick out there in chat saying, well done, Jake. You had a nice little hot rod as well tonight, Nick. So let's see if we can bring up your second place driver, and that is going to be Kenny. Kenny, this is John in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, John.
Hey, man, I don't know what happened. It just we had those two green white checker, and then our UI just completely blinked out. Probably something with that update. But we've got you in this booth. Really a quiet night for you, Kenny. I mean, you had to work your way through the field early, but once you got in second position and kind of settled down, it was just really about turning laps.
Yeah, I didn't do any practice this week. And then today, I don't know if you saw the Discord, but I got into a head-on collision at like 35 miles an hour at 8 o'clock this morning, so my left wrist is pretty banged up, and I have it wrapped up from the hospital. So I'm sore, and I was trying my best.
Well, I will tell you, man, sometimes you're ready for it and sometimes it just comes and finds you. And it looked like you had a really good race, and it's good to hear that you were definitely doing well after that accident. But you had a good race. It looked like Dylan just I mean, he was really good getting on and off of pit road. I think you were kind of holding serve for the first part of those runs. Then when the tires wore in, he would be 2 to 3 tenths a lap quicker, but you were really holding him there for the first half of those green flag runs. Just looked like he was getting on and off of pit road and just putting a couple of seconds on you.
Yeah, that's where I need a lot of work in that area. It's not, I only race once a night or one night a week, so this is really all I got. So I don't really do a whole lot of pit road practice, but like I always struggle getting into the box. I always feel like I'm super slow there, and then obviously with this track, the entrance you had to wrap the access line, so you could lose a lot of time there, and then also on your exit, you got to use that access road. So just he does a lot of road course racing too. So I'll say that's where he gained the time was on those entrance and exits. But yeah, it's definitely an area I need to work on. But it took me that whole first run to really get into the groove, find the lift points, find the braking points. So I felt a lot better that last round, and then thought I had a shot at him with those green white checkers. It's hard on these restarts, but I tried.
Yeah, and it looked like you were choosing to run kind of, especially going into one, because you started on the outside there, to go in that midline and maybe get a good run off of two. And it looked like that happened a few times. You had a couple of drivers sneak underneath of you through that first turn. And I always thought, man, on those restarts, what if you were unimpeded and you could really work that whole turn and get off? Could you get something working down, off of two? But you did a fantastic job tonight. Way to bring home a podium finish, even after what you went through earlier this morning, Kenny. So congratulations, man, and we'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, thanks, man. I just want to shout out to everyone that's in this league. Drafty JD for my admin partners and the co-owners of this league. You for putting on a great show. I forgot to give you a shout out when I was watching Eldora that the inside the car camera, the little preview you did before you hopped in, that thing was sweet, and I forgot to give you a little shout out. But yeah, just excited where we're going, and we'll keep this ball rolling.
Well, you did a heck of a job. Martinsville next week. So hopefully we'll have a good, iRacing never has a great Martinsville, but we look forward to it next week. And maybe we'll be talking to you one position better.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it goes. We took it off the schedule after season 2, so we threw it back on here, and we're hoping for the best, but it's rough there.
Yeah. All right. Well, congratulations again, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, see you, John.
All right. So there is your second place driver of Kenny. There's only one other person to talk to, and that is your overall winner, Dylan. This is John in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, you went back to back, and it wasn't without its fireworks there later on in that run. But on the end of that race with those green white checkers, but really just on cruise control, getting on and off of pit road really well all night long. And it just looked like maybe you sacrificed a little in the beginning of those runs to put, I think, when I was talking to Kenny, you were 2 to 3 tenths a lap faster by the middle to the end of those runs every single lap. So, man, just walk me through your race.
Yeah, I think the line everybody else or a lot of cars were running was a little bit faster if you kind of drove it in a little deeper in one and then kind of went to the middle and then arced it off. But I just felt like that was going to burn the right front up. So it's going to back the corners up, especially 1 and 2. I think 3 and 4 was pretty good all night, pretty consistent. But 1 and 2, I found it backing it off would just help on that long run. But yeah, we had a few cautions, erased some pretty nice leads. So that kind of was a bummer. And then obviously I was not expecting 2 green white checkers. I was out of fuel. I didn't pay attention when we pitted and took tires and fuel that last time and didn't put enough in. So I was probably going to run out anywhere from middle of the backstretch to turn 4. So we were sitting ducks. I think I had like 0.3 gallons when we crossed the line
Wow.
for the checker.
Wow. Well, I will tell you, you always sometimes you sneak in and you win some that maybe you shouldn't, and sometimes you lose some that maybe you shouldn't. But I will tell you, you should have won this race tonight. That gives you back to back. You've got Eldora, you've got this one. Listen, if you put a short track in Martinsville, I don't really consider Gateway a short track. So you put a short track in Martinsville and you put a road course under your belt, you're just going to do all four of the disciplines this season.
Yeah, I think I like to think I'm the favorite going into the short tracks in the league. So I'm looking forward to Martinsville. I'm sponsoring our Martinsville race this year, so looking forward to it. Hopefully, we'll park it there as well. But yeah, the only thing we wouldn't have at that point would be a super speedway or some kind of super speedway after that. I don't think we'll get a road course. I'm not the greatest on a road course, but I think Martinsville is definitely in the card.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hear it might be a crazy Martinsville. I look forward to that. I'm going to be here for it. I know you will be. Way to go back to back as you continue to climb your way up these points to try to get back into those playoffs and defend that title. So congratulations, man. And we'll let you shout out your sponsors.
Thank you. Got to thank everybody at Revved Up Racing, everybody over at Hyperspeed as well. You for putting on the broadcast, giving everybody that's out there in the audience the place to watch the race, and all those fans being here. Trisha's Learning Center, the admins, Force by Dennis, Victory Fuel, Circle W Farms, everybody that makes this possible, and all the drivers for coming out and giving us a field to race.
Well, congratulations on yet another win. There is Dylan. Dylan, fantastic job. We look forward to talking to you again next week.
Thank you. Hope we make it 3 in a row.
All right, so there you go. There are all three of your drivers. I do once again apologize for that just quitting on us all of a sudden, but we were able to talk to your drivers. Looks like that thing is going to wrap up just the way that we left it on your 1, 2, and 3 drivers. That is going to be Jake in that 37, picking up that 3rd position. Kenny is going to be in 2nd, and then your winner going back to back is Dylan in that 70 machine. So I am John Ross here for Royalty Racing Network. We're going to see you next week at Martinsville. Well, hopefully we're going to get that thing through with as minimal cautions as possible. Certainly appreciate everybody out there in chat giving us something to talk about all the way throughout this race, and we'll see you again next Tuesday.